I looked through the curtain on the side door and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was the Easter Bunny. I can barely see a large, glowing, white, fuzzy fingertip. Tap, tap, tap. I know it's wacky and I was probably dreaming, but I can still picture it, and for some reason it's never creeped me out. It's never creeped you out. I'm creeped out by you about the fact that that's never creeped you out. I heard tapping on the window. I turn my head to see the Easter Bunny standing on the lawn, staring through my window. And welcome to a new episode of Real Spooky Stories, the place where I tell your real spooky stories. If you'd like to share your story, give me a little email on realspookyStoriesPodcast@gmail.com, or you can get in touch on every social media that is linked below. Also, not if you want to send your story, but if you just want, if there's like a story that you know that you want me to read out, like a spooky one that you know of or anything, just get in touch and let me know and I'll read it out. So, happy Easter. It is Easter today on the day that this goes live. So I thought I would keep the theme of Easter. It's still going to be a spooky episode. I actually think this could be the creepiest episode yet, because do you remember at Christmas when I done 13 Nights of Christmas and one of the episodes was called, I think it was called Santa Claus is Coming, and it was people's real sightings of Santa, or like what they believed to be Santa, or like a man in a red suit with the beard and everything, or like a sleigh going past the window. But I did that at Christmas, and then obviously St. Patrick's Day was last month, and I done a St. Patrick's Day leprechaun one, and it was people's sightings of leprechauns, or what they believe to be leprechauns. So what is today's going to be? Sightings of the one and only bloody Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny. I actually think that could be the creepiest one, because a bunny is a little small animal, and the Easter Bunny is like a 6 foot tall, human-sized bunny. I actually think it could be the creepiest one, and it makes me feel weird thinking about it. It reminds me of like Donnie Darko a bit, but I don't know. I'm excited to do this one though, because there is quite a few comments and stuff on all of these, and I've got a few stories. A lot of them are only like quite short, but it's people's experiences and stuff. They're obviously all going to be linked below as always, and you can click on them and read them yourself, because there's probably a million more than what I actually read from today. So we're going to the first story now. This one is from Creepy Encounters. It is by the user That Was Close 22, and it is titled, Can the Easter Bunny Come In? This happened to me a long time ago, but I think about it from time to time, and I've used this story to teach my kids to never open the door of people you don't know. I was a kid and we lived in a really big old house that was part of an old farm. It was on a semi-busy road but was rural. The house was really big and had a large formal living room with a large formal dining room right behind it. There was a big double front door that opened to a covered porch and a side door that went into the dining room. My mum was doing laundry in the very back of the house and I was watching TV in the living room. There was a knock at the side door. I wasn't supposed to open the door, but I figured I'd get a peek and see. I looked through the curtain on the side door and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was the Easter Bunny. Of course, looking back now, I know it was a guy in a costume, but back then I thought it was real. When he saw me, he did a little hop and asked me to let him in. I was in kind of shock and just stared at him. He was in a pink suit and had a basket with eggs on it on his arm. He knocked again and acted really impatient. He said, "Little girl, are you going to let me in so I can hide these eggs for you?" I wanted those eggs, but he was a stranger, right? But he was the Easter Bunny. Can the Easter Bunny be a stranger? So I asked him who he was. He sighed and said, "I'm the Easter Bunny and you have to let me in right now so I can hide my eggs. Invite me in, you have to, or you won't get any." I reached out to unlock the door, but then I got a sick feeling in my stomach and decided I should probably check with my mum first. So I told him I was going to ask my mum. He said, "No, you have to invite me in. I'm here to see you. These are for you." I thought about it and he started to freak me out, so I yelled for my mum and ran to tell her. So I run back to the laundry room and tell my mum there's a big Easter Bunny at the front door and he wants to come in the house. My mum laughs and says, "Well, let me go see." So she walks to the front door and of course the bunny is gone, like no trace of him. So my mum thinks I'm a big fat fibber and made me sit on the couch and think about being a liar. Hours later, my dad comes home from work and tells my mum that there was a robbery a couple of miles away. A little boy had opened the door and a man had tied him and his mum up and robbed them. I found out years later that this guy had beat up the mum pretty bad. There was no mention of a bunny suit, but what better way to get a kid to let you in? That was strike one for that house. Someone's put, all of that, you have to invite me in. gives me the impression that he was actually a vampire in an Easter bunny costume. Someone that the OP has put back, it's funny you say that because there's always been a part of me that thought maybe it wasn't a person at all and the other break-in was coincidental. When I was slightly younger, there was a woman that would tap on my window and ask me to invite her in all the time. Oh my God. They wrote in the original post that they've posted the other parts, but I don't know actually where they've posted it. Because I can't actually see the comment with the other posts, unless it's probably just on their own thing. I'm not going to read the other parts anyway, because I think that's probably just not about the Easter bunny, but that was weird. Imagine, and obviously your mum's not going to believe you, why, if any kid said to the mum that Easter bunny's just been at the front door, you'd be like, no, they haven't. But I mean, we've all got a ring doorbell now, haven't we, so. This one is from Paranormal Encounters. It is by the user Midnight Skies. It is titled, Why I Hate the Easter Bunny. So this happened around 4, maybe 5 years ago. If you don't believe this, my whole family can back it up. They saw it too. It all started when I went to this small amusement park called Kiddieland. I believe it's been around since the 1960s. It's pretty small since it's right next to a park and creek. It only has about 5 rides and a train that goes around the area. Now, this happened the day before Easter. Kiddieland hosts an egg hunt there, and you can go play in the park itself. The egg hunt is free. It happened after the egg hunt, when I took a picture with the Easter Bunny, who was getting paid to roam the park and take pictures with the kids. Just before me and my sister took pictures, we both had gotten a blueberry slushie from the snack stand. My mum was about to snap a photo when I accidentally spilled some blueberry slushie on the front of the Easter Bunny. The bunny looked down at the slushie slipping down his costume and growled at me. Now that made me really scared because this Easter Bunny looked really creepy. Its suit was ripped and torn in places, but its eyes were narrow black slits with blood-red pupils, and I swear it had the most sinister smile I've ever seen, not to mention its huge buck bunny teeth, which were very sharp. I had just assumed the park couldn't afford a good suit for the person playing the bunny. "I'm sorry," I said, looking at the bunny with an apologetic smile. The bunny spoke in a deep, almost creepy voice. "I never want you taking photos with me again." I was a young child, so I started crying. "Let her take one more picture," my mum said. I'll hold this slushie for her. It was just an accident." The bunny glared at Mum, but let her take one more picture. As I was about to leave, the Easter Bunny grabbed my arm in what felt like a death grip. He whispered in my ear, "You will pay for this." Then he smiled, his sinister Easter Bunny smile. "Don't grab my child like that," shouted my dad, who also heard what the bunny said. "I will call security on you." The bunny just stared at my dad. We left Kiddieland early because of the incident. That night, I had a nightmare about what happened at the park earlier that day. I woke up from the nightmare, sighing in relief that it wasn't real. Suddenly, I heard tapping on the window. I turned my head to see the Easter Bunny standing on the lawn, staring through my window, and he was smiling sinisterly at me. My parents called the police that night, but they never found the bunny. A year later, I went back to Kiddieland for the egg hunt, and the same bunny was there, and he saw me. I just knew he remembered me. I never went to Kiddieland again. Oh, that's horrible. Standing on the lawn outside. As soon as I read that bit, I was like, this is fake. But then you said, they called the police, your mum called the police and stuff. That makes it sound more real. That sounds like a film, doesn't it, or something? He was standing on the lawn. And yeah, I know, he had bad eyes and stuff. Maybe he was just a guy with no job, and they really needed someone to dress up as the Easter Bunny, and the bunny costume wasn't good, and you spilled your blue slushie on him. That's probably going to stain. So I would probably growl at you too. No, the fact that he growled is actually quite scary, and I don't like that. Okay, so this one is from Paranormal Encounters. It's by the user BeanieBaby729. So it's got a post, and it's them saying, it's titled The Easter Bunny, What Are People Seeing? It's got a post of them saying, what are people seeing and stuff, and it's got links to each post. So I'll click a few. Okay, I'll just read what they wrote, and then we'll go from there. As a child, I had a strange experience of seeing something that should not have been. A holiday fable that now as an adult I know is fictional. I know what I saw there, and I'm certain that it was not a dream. Obviously, I'm open to other interpretations of what it could have been. For a couple of years now, I've been doing research on this phenomena. My strongest theory is that what children are seeing is a tulpa. It's just so strange how children all over the world have had this experience. Today, since we are getting close to the Easter holiday, I'll include stories of those who have seen the so-called Easter Bunny. As a disclaimer, the Easter Bunny was not the mythical being that I saw. First, let's start with Reddit posts. Be sure to check out the comments on these posts as well. Right, so some of these, there's loads linked here, but a lot of them are from the subreddit Paranormal, and I can't read that because you've got to have permission, or like whoever posts on that subreddit, it's like you're not allowed to read them out or whatever. So you click on the links below if you want and read it. But there's one here, what they've linked, it's from the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix. It is titled "The Easter Bunny is Real, I Swear." It's only like a few sentences. Walking into class in second grade during Easter, the teachers told everyone the Easter Bunny left a surprise for all of us. All my classmates excitedly opened up their desks to reveal chocolates and treats, but I was the only one who hadn't received anything. I stood around confused and motioned to my friend to come look, and when I opened my desk, lo and behold, the treats are right there in the centre. Still having no explanation, except for the Easter Bunny is a dick and exists. Oh, why did he leave you? Why did he leave you that? Right, someone's commented, MFG, stop. So when I was a kid, and still today, I wouldn't doubt fairies and mermaids existed. I want to believe. I had a vivid imagination, always defended the Tooth Fairy and Santa, but I saw the Easter Bunny as a kid. I went downstairs in Easter to see if he had come yet, and I saw the outline of a huge-ass bunny walking on two legs and placing things down on the fireplace landing. Woke up the next morning with the basket right where I saw him. I believed the Easter Bunny for longer than Santa. I still wondered if it was a dream if I imagined it, but it was weird, lol. There's other people commenting. See, someone's put, I literally saw Santa and his reindeers once. Like, see, it's so weird. Like, someone's commented, my mum swears she saw a big Easter Bunny come into a hotel room she was staying at when she was younger. It walked on its hind legs and left a bag of treats in the room and then left. Once I figured out the Easter Bunny wasn't real, I tried to get her to drop the act and tell me she just made up a story, but she was dead serious. It's rather spooky. Someone else put, see, my sister teases me about it to this day, but I swear that when we were little, like 6 or 7, a giant Easter Bunny came to the doorway of our room, like it was checking on us after filling our baskets. My mum was the only other person in the apartment, so she wasn't into costumes or dressing up or making things magical for us. Plus, it was the dead middle of the night. I know it's wacky and I was probably dreaming, but I can still picture it, and for some reason, it's never creeped me out. It's never creeped you out. I'm creeped out by you about the fact that that's never creeped you out. How can a bunny standing at your door in the middle of the night not creep you out, even if you know it's like the Easter Bunny or you think it's the Easter Bunny? Right, I'll go back. So here's what they've linked is from Paranormal Encounters. It is by the user Sly Kitty Pie. It is titled Easter Bunny or Something Sinister. Hello everyone, I've been waiting to post this story for a while. Anxiety has stopped it until now, so here it goes. When I was around 6 to 8, I lived in a tiny town in the coastal mountains. It was just my young parents, early 20s and early 30s, and myself living in a double-wide trailer. Someone was kind enough to let us move onto their property, and it was beautiful. Picture redwood forest as your backyard, gorgeous. There were horses on the property too, which was another story. Anywho, after putting out carrots and water for the Easter Bunny, I went to bed, which was the first room when you walk down the hallway from a large living room. I prayed and prayed so hard that I would meet the Easter Bunny. So at this time, I believed in a mix the best of Christianity, mum, and Catholicism, stepdad. So it was more or less a righteous fairy tale. If I did good and prayed hard, I could get them answered. I wanted him to be real so bad. I had made the same prayer every Easter for years. The next thing I know, I'm asleep. It's weird because I can see it now. I remember having a small rectangle room and my bed was on the opposite side of the room, diagonal to the door. As I was deep in dreamland, I was woken up by the sound of my door opening. I stayed still and pinched my arm to see if it was in a nightmare. I had read that in an old book my grandma had, lol. It worked and I felt pain, so hoping I was awake and thinking that it was my parents, I pretended to be asleep. Then the footsteps I heard didn't sound like them, so I tried to slowly slink lower under my blankets while sleeping asleep. My bed was a twin with a wooden frame with drawers at the bottom with a headboard that had 2 sliding doors for cabinet storage. The steps stopped about a foot away from the head of my bed. That's when I heard tap, tap, tap on my headboard. I slowly look up, still trying to act like I'm sleeping, but I'm fucking terrified. I can barely see a large, glowing, white, fuzzy fingertip. Tap, tap, tap. The taps got louder and sounded impatient or angry. I shut my eyes and silently prayed for protection. I'm not sure how long it was, but it seemed like forever until I heard my door shut. Slowly looking towards my door, I saw nothing. I was relieved, but I still wanted comfort. Still afraid to leave my super protective blankets, I surrounded myself with as much as my stuffed animals I could reach without leaving my bed. I'm not sure if I was just so exhausted from it all, or maybe it was my body, tired from a very active imagination. I must have passed out. The next thing I know, I am under my mountain of studies, being woken up for school by my mum. Please, if Reddit can help me and let me know if it seems like a dream or maybe some strange alien, phantom, monster, etc. I've never forgotten that night. It still freaks me out when I think of it. Oh my god, that's horrible. Imagine if, like, it's the fact that you heard it walking up to a foot away from the head of your bed and then it tapped on your headboard. Like, your head is against your headboard. That's literally, like, disgusting. And you saw a big fuzzy white finger. Oh my god, that's horrible. Someone's put, that's crazy. I think it was probably something positive. It could have hit you, but it just waited to see if it would look at you and probably realise you were scared, so it left. What positive thing is, like, what? I'm so... Also, someone's put, why did you have school on Easter? But they've put, I think I got confused and it was church. Okay. Let me go back. Okay, so this one's from the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit again. It is by the user Eldest Freeman. It is titled, The older I get, the more I've convinced that this bizarre memory had to be a dream of some sort. Not sure if this was the appropriate place for this, but the experience was so strange and walks the line between reality and impossible for me. So for the last 15 plus years, I've been freaked out by this memory I had from childhood. I'm 30 now and it still feels totally real, but the rational side of my mind has forced me to reconcile it as a strange vivid dream. The memory is from when I was a young child, probably 5 or 6 years old. My parents divorced right about that age, and this memory, they're still together. Here's the context. It was Easter, or very close to it. My family owned 40 acres of land in the Catskills. I spent countless weekends up there through my life, and in this memory, most of my close family was up for the holiday. It was tradition to hide the children's Easter baskets and have the kids find them instead of the eggs. So the dream begins with it being Easter morning. The log cabin currently on the property wasn't built at the time, but we had a 2-car garage with a wood stove and a small camper. It was chilly that morning, and still early spring in upstate New York. My brother and I split to search for our Easter baskets in the woods. I remember walking around the woods surrounding the garage and wondering where my basket would be, just how far into the woods my parents had placed it. My grandfather always smoked a pipe, and as I ventured deeper down into the trail, I smelled a pretty familiar scent. I remember thinking, how did Pop-Pop get down here already? I was getting closer, and the scent was getting stronger. Just then, I saw something. I'll never be able to get it out of my mind. A humanoid rabbit resting against a tree about 20 yards in front of me. It turned its head and looked right at me. All I felt was pure terror. I stared at it for a few seconds and turned around and ran for my life. I ran back to the garage and the safety of my parents. I remember crying hysterically and told my father what I had seen. I remember my family surrounding me and calming me down while telling me I had imagined it and everything was okay. The memory fades from there. I don't remember the aftermath. Still 25 plus years later, and I still have that image seared into my mind and cannot shake it. As I stated, the logical part of my mind has tried to convince myself that it was nothing more than a vivid dream or nightmare, but it's always there lurking, and no matter how much time passes, I cannot seem to 100% convince myself that it was nothing more than the imagination of a 5-year-old. Oh, that's spooky. Yeah, someone's put, reminds me of Frank the Bunny from Donnie Darko. Yeah, it's like, that's what I said before, like, this just reminds me of that. The OP has commented back, it wasn't as gnarly or grotesque, but it had an almost human face. I had spent years trying to bury the image and chalk it off as a dream, but all these years later, it just keeps coming back to me. Sometimes during a daydream, sometimes at night when I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep. I don't think I'll ever get it out of my head. It's just spooky. Someone else has commented on this with their little experience. They've put, amazing account, just comment on this. Sorry, I know it's an older thread, but I'm so surprised after reading your story that I had to. The only, and I mean only, weird thing I've ever seen in my life was very similar to this. I've never seen a ghost or a glitch. I just found the subreddit really interesting. Nothing paranormal or inexplicable to speak of, except the fucking bunny. I was also about 5, and I remember this entire scene as clear as day. A tall, 6, maybe even 7 foot rabbit with not a humanoid face, but not a rabbit face. Basically like one of those Easter Bunny costumes, but real. You could tell its fur was real, and its face moved naturally, not like plastic, though it did remain more or less expressionless. Unlike you, I don't recall being seriously frightened, more confused as to how it got in our house. It was in my living room, and confused that something I previously thought was unreal apparently was. Oh my god, the fact that it's in your living room is disgusting. They've put, at that age, I didn't believe in the Easter Bunny, Santa Tooth Fairy, etc. I just wasn't a super gullible kid, I guess, but after giving proof, I sort of nonchalantly believed in the Easter Bunny for another 2 to 3 years before I came old enough to realise how incredibly fucked up this memory was, and tried to come up with a rational explanation for it. I've also considered that somehow merged 2 memories, like seeing my mum hiding the basket with seeing someone in a rabbit costume on TV or something, or that the bunny was a cover memory or sort for something scarier. When people tell stories of their encounters with inexplicable things, I'm always afraid to chime in, well, I saw the Easter Bunny. It sounds ridiculous, but I swear it happened, or I very much thought it happened at the time. Even my mum remembers, never had an Easter basket after that year. Oh God, that's so horrible. It's just, I don't like the idea of a big, huge 6 foot or 7 foot thing, like, of a bunny, and it look real. Like, what's the goal though? Like, what is the goal? On the original post where, like, they've put the links of the other posts, someone's commented saying, yuck, okay, so I used to, like, look out the window when I was a kid before bed and try to see stuff that maybe only came out at night. We were the second house from the end, not like a dead end, but into the main road. And there was a street light at the first house, so it wasn't pitch black, but there were shadows. Anyway, I remember seeing a near man-sized rabbit with crooked ears and grossly long legs moving around outside up the street. There was the main road, and up a bit was another street that turned off across from mine, so I could see a good distance. It moved in a way that made me uncomfortable, so I ducked back into bed. We lived in a 2-storey, and my room faced the stairway. I don't know how much time had passed. You never know as a kid, an hour, 5 minutes, feeling like a century. But I heard the stairs creak and covered my head. I can't remember if my parents were also upstairs asleep, but I remember the nightlight was on and the base of the stairs, and that meant everyone was in bed. Anyway, I peek out at these sounds and see this crooked-eared shadow coming up. I nearly lost my mind. I stayed quiet forever and fell asleep till morning, woke to my basket of treats and wanted to sling them right back out the window I saw that thing out of. A couple of years later, I saw an episode of Ripley's Believe It or Not, and they were talking about jackrabbits and how they had big legs and long teeth. There was a drawn depiction of one, and it hit the back of my throat and burned my stomach because it reminded me of that damn thing I saw. I was not a fan of Easter after that, nor was I too keen on looking out the window at night. Don't know if it was the Easter Bunny, but I saw a bunny on Easter that I hope I never see it again. Just got a shiver typing it out. Someone's put, while it's really scary, yours appears more rabbit. In a lot of stories, it seems more like a man walking upright. The OP, the person's put back, sort of walking like a man, but hunched, but more upright than over, almost like a zombie shuffle. Fluid but jerky. It felt wrong even having seen it, if that makes sense. And it was maybe 4 or so feet tall, just awful. Really looks scraggly and angry. Oh my God. It makes me sick to think of even, like, looking at something like that. Okay, we'll go on to the next one now. Let's see. This one's from subreddit True Scary Stories. It is by the user Desert Rose 817. It is titled The Easter Bunny. When I, female 20, was between 10 and 12 years old, it was the night before Easter, and my mum and dad liked to keep the magic alive with goofy antics, even if they knew I knew the truth. So when I looked outside my bedroom window when I couldn't sleep and saw a shadow shaped like a large bunny, I wasn't surprised and smiled and tried to go to sleep. When I was almost asleep, I felt what I can only think to describe as large furry paws or mitts grab my sides. I was facing the wall of my room away from my bedroom door and began to violently shake me in what I guess was an attempt to wake me, but I hugged my teddy bear and pretended to be asleep until it stopped about 3 to 5 minutes later. I have never turned over to look around my room. I never heard my door open or close, never heard anyone say anything. When I asked my parents about it the next morning, they denied coming to my room or putting anything in the windows to make a bunny shadow. Even years later, I vividly remember this experience, and I've asked my dad over and over again, and he still swears to me that he never did that. I know it's easy to pass off as a dream, but I remember the feeling of whatever grabbed me and being shaken. I vividly remember this and truly believe it was real and not a dream. I don't know what it was or why, but I'll never forget it happened. That's horrible. That's literally horrible. Someone's commented, I remember one Easter morning, my sister and I woke up to a bunny-shaped head shadow on our wall. We tried to figure out what was making the shadow. Nothing got the window. Since the window curtains were closed, it was all just weird to me. I know it was most definitely not a dream because my sister saw it too. Oh my God, the fact that you were getting shook and 3 to 5 minutes later, that's a long time. Like, that's actually really a long time to get shook by, like, big paws. Oh my God. Imagine if you were to turn around. Oh my God, that I actually feel so weird, and like I keep getting shivers reading these stories. I don't know what it is about animals. I don't know what it is about animals that makes me more like creeped out, but also something like this that shouldn't exist. Like, it shouldn't exist. Like, oh my God, it's actually weird. This one is from The Truth Is Here. It is been deleted so it doesn't tell me who the user is. It's titled, I'm convinced I saw the Easter Bunny as a child. Nope, this isn't a troll post. I have a vivid memory of seeing the Easter Bunny when I was around 10 years old. I saw its tail hopping away from my front porch and into the bushes around my house. It wasn't like an actual everyday rabbit. It was like a stereotypical Easter Bunny sort. It was large, white with a fluffy tail, and was wearing overalls and a neckerchief. Now, of course, this was likely a dream or simply my imagination, but it's so vivid, and I was just wondering if anyone else has had any of their own similar personal stories about seeing fairy tale beings as children. Oh my god. Someone's put, dude, me too, around the same age. It was translucent like a ghost, but a 6-foot bunny with a pink bow. It was before I started using drugs, of course. No one anywhere believes me. Someone's commented back, the only reason I believe you is because a friend of mine, someone who I trust not to lie, told me he saw the Easter Bunny too. He was about 6 years old and had gotten up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. It was around Easter time, of course. Anyhow, as he was leaving the bathroom to return to his bedroom, he saw the silhouette of a huge 6-foot-tall shadow bunny standing still and silent down the hall in front of the door to his bedroom. He ran to his parents' room and of course they didn't believe him. Right, what's this? Like, what's this? What's the end goal of the Easter Bunny? Because obviously, like I said this about Santa, and I know Santa's real, he is real, but like, kids cover your ears, but like, obviously your mum and dad put all the presents there. So what is the reason for Santa? Like, same as this though, what is the reason? Like, if you get any like Easter basket with treats in, your mum and dad have obviously done that. You know what I mean? So is there no, the next day, is there no like, why is the Easter Bunny here? Like, why was the Easter Bunny here? Like, is there no extra treats? Like, like that guy who on a few stories ago who said, I found a basket where I saw the Easter Bunny standing by the fireplace, but it weren't your parents like, no, that was us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like, it just baffles me. Someone's commented on this one as well. Okay, I swear I'm not making this up, but I saw the same thing. It was just after dawn. I woke up because I heard something, and 11-year-old me was like, sweet, I'm going to catch my mum in the act of hiding my egg in my room. I knew the Easter Bunny wasn't real. I pretended to roll over while still asleep so I could try and sneak a peek, but what I saw was not my mum. Her dress that she had hanging on a wall behind where my then closed door would open was moving as if someone was pulling it in front of them, and I saw the long legs and feet hiding behind it. Oh my god, this is horrible. It scared the shit out of me, but I couldn't move. Just laid there pretending to be asleep for a few more hours and it was gone. I kid you not, that it was the year we found an actual rabbit poop in our house that morning. I always thought of my parents really going out of their way to convince us that I had been dreaming, but this post is making me question all of it. Oh my god, this is so... Oh, I just don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. Here's another one from The Truth Is Here as well. It doesn't tell me who the user is because it's been deleted. It says, I think I saw the Easter Bunny as a child. It might sound absurd, but bear with me. I remember this memory so vividly, I haven't forgot it in 21 years. It was in my primary school in Glasgow, Scotland. I've since moved away, but anyway, the way our classroom was, it was set under the ground, but there was windows halfway near the top of the walls you could see outside. Anyway, we were in an arts and crafts class, I believe, and I seen this bunny rabbit thing with some cape or something like that. It had a pink on it and just hopped so weirdly. It looked down in the class and just hopped away. I just shouted to my teacher, I saw the Easter Bunny, but she dismissed it saying, don't be silly, the Easter Bunny isn't real. But I was and still am so convinced of what I saw. Now I don't believe the Easter Bunny per se, but could be some phenomenon where the other manifests itself into all sorts of bizarre ways. I find it's always children this happens to. This is my first time recounting this in 22 years, and I just want to get others' thoughts on this. Oh my god. Someone's commented, okay, I have a weird Easter Bunny story too. Mind you, as an adult, I've convinced myself it was a dream, but growing up, it didn't feel like one. It was an Easter Sunday. I woke up before my parents in anticipation of my Easter basket. I woke up too early, I guess, because it wasn't on the table yet. I don't exactly remember what happened. I was like 4, but something prompted me to look out of the window. When I did, I saw the shadow of the Easter Bunny walking past my window. As a kid, I ran back to bed thinking, he's here. As an adult, I'm like, what the hell was that? Like I've said, I convinced myself it was a dream, but with as few memories I have as a small child, this one sticks out vividly. I remember the colour of the sun being behind his ears and the direction he was walking. No other dreams I had as a kid ever haunted me like that. Someone else was put, so did I. I I remember very vividly looking out my window and seeing a large white rabbit on 2 legs, man-sized, in the backyard dropping off something underneath a large pine tree. I was not dreaming, and no, my parents didn't own a bunny suit and wouldn't have done it. Yeah, but like everyone's saying they're seeing a bunny holding like a basket and they're getting on stuff and whatever, like, but what is it like? Where do your parents think stuff came from and that? You know what I mean? Right, so that was the last one that I've got, but as I said, there's literally so many comments on every single one of these, so obviously they're all linked below. So yeah, definitely go ahead and read it. And if you've ever seen the Easter Bunny, let me know as well. Like, if you were a kid and you think you saw the Easter Bunny, let me know. But it's not the end of the episode yet, because we know what time it is. It is time for a creepypasta. Creepypasta. And of course, it's Easter related. Okay, so it's from the subreddit Creepypasta. It's by the user Dissociation Reddit, and it is titled, I met the Easter Bunny, I will never be the same again. I don't celebrate Easter, not because I'm an atheist, no, because of what happened when I was 6 years old. I loved Easter almost as much as Christmas. Lots of good food, candy galore, and I even liked eating the eggs with a little salt and pepper late at night while I watched Nickelodeon. So the Easter Sunday of my 7th year alive, I was up at the crack of dawn, which wasn't unusual for me to do on Easter back then, running out to the living room to turn on the watch TV until my parents woke up in an hour or so. I ended up stopping so fast I almost fell over when I saw him. In the middle of the living room stood a man, pudgy like Santa Claus, but that is where his similarities to Santa ended. Instead of human ears, he had long, white, bunny ears sticking out of his head. All his hair from on top of his head to his eyebrows and moustache was bunny white like his ears. He looked at me a second before giving me the biggest smile. I found myself transfixed by him, like I'd been put under hypnosis. Oh, joy, he said so loudly. I was more surprised my parents hadn't woke up. Much more quietly, he continued, I love having company. Unfortunately, it's against the rules for me to wake someone up. As he started hopping like a human imitating a bunny, I found myself following him involuntarily. I tried to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. You see, he said as he found a spot he seemed to like, pulled his pants down and proceeded to lay the egg. Pulling them up, he started scouting out the house again and hopping around like a bunny still. Back in the 50s, when candy companies were trying to think of ways to increase profits, they hired a team of scientists, the man said while he laid another egg in a potted plant. After he laid that egg, I noticed his stomach was becoming smaller with every egg he laid. The Easter Bunny man continued, so I see an ad up in my local paper, volunteer for a scientific study and make an easy $3,000, which, by the way, was a lot of money back then. The Easter Bunny man had just laid a plastic egg instead of a real one on top of our fridge. Oh, pooey, it's a dud, he said while laughing. He looked from the plastic egg to me and back to the egg. After a few seconds of his lips stretched into a wide, wicked grin. I felt terror build up in me as he hopped over to me. I felt my mouth involuntarily open as I used every ounce of willpower I had to try and keep it shut. He stuck the egg in my mouth, then his hand, then he forced the egg all the way down my throat to my stomach. His hand was in my mouth up to his elbow. I feel even more panic rise up in me as I feel terrible pain and like I'm suffocating at the time. Finally, he pulled his hand out and I gasped for air. Little children who get up too early have to eat the duds, he said very matter-of-factly. Anyway, he continues again, I had to sign a bunch of papers, like if I died during the studies, my family will get the money. I just signed away, only thinking about that $3,000. They poked and prodded, took blood and put blood into me. In the end, they made what you see now. He finished as he squeezed a very outer inch of his butt under our TV stand and laid an egg there. Immediately the room had filled with the smell of sulphur. Oh dear me, he exclaimed, a rotten one, even better. And with that, I found my mouth open again and he stuck the rotten egg down my throat. Oh yes, wake up too early on Easter and the Easter Bunny will give you a treat. He cackled as he pulled his arm from my mouth and I felt life-giving air fill my lungs. Oh my, I'm done, off to bed you go. And I involuntarily walked back to my room, laid down on my bed and I was asleep in seconds. My parents never believed me and I was too scared to share with anyone else. But I've decided to force myself to deal with what happened. Oh my god, that was a horrible... I hadn't read that before and like it was actually a bit weird. Like eating a horrible rotten egg and another plastic egg. Oh, and he was just laying eggs everywhere. Oh my god, that was horrible. But it's a creepypasta, it's not real. Pff, imagine if that one was real. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the Easter special of real spooky stories. And yeah, if you've seen the Easter Bunny or if you've had any weird experiences like this one, let me know. Also, if there's any stories or creepypastas or just any spooky stories that you've heard before and you want me to share, get in touch on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and or just comment on whatever you're listening on and I'll read them out. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. And next week we have such an exciting episode. We have Halloween, because we are halfway to Halloween. It's April. We've got another half of the year to go before we're up to Halloween. And I'm just in love. I love the vibe. I love, whenever I do these, I have a little Halloween ambience on in the background, and I just love the fact that it's halfway to Halloween. And I'm going to read a few creepypastas. I'm going to read a few real ones. And I've already started making plans for Halloween on the podcast. So I'm so looking forward to it. And next week, it's Halloween. Basically, it's Halloween next week, okay? So I'll see you next week for Halloween. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you next week at 12 p.m. on Sunday. Goodbye and happy Easter.